Consider this video as a follow-up to my survivor and my killer tips and trick guide videos. Those go more in depth for each character and items that are currently in the game. Links to them will be down in the description box below. This first tip may end up getting patched in the future, but nonetheless, it's a good one for killers currently. It's a lot easier to carry survivors by walking backwards to a chair rather than walking forwards. The amount of force that survivor applies to you when you're walking backwards is a lot less than walking forward. Jumping backwards also helps too. This is another movement tip for survivors. When you're in the prop mode, just as you hit the ground, if you press jump again, you will make less noise. Also, be sure to be holding the left shift key while doing this. It's the secret to being a ninja prop. This is great for whenever you change into louder sounding props, such as cans and glass bottles. This works with other larger props as well. In my survivor guide video, I talk about how the stun hitbox on killers are based on the direction that the killers are moving. I just want to go a little bit more in depth by what I meant by that. As the killer is moving backwards, the hitbox for the back of their head increases in size, making it easier to stun them from back there. Same for when they're going forward. The hitbox in the forehead area is larger. This is a good tip for both survivors and killers. For killers, it may be able to help them avoid stuns from people who are trying to go for their foreheads if they slightly move backwards. And for survivors, it's good to know that if you're trying to boink someone from the back of their head, but they're moving forward, you have less of a chance of pulling that off. For survivors, I always suggest going for the top of their head because that always guarantees a stun. Also, keep in mind that large ping differences can affect this as well, meaning that a survivor might be moving one way on your screen versus on their screen. And the same holds true for killers. We'll be going over some movement tips. This won't be everything that I know because that can be a whole separate video all by itself. If you're interested in that, also let me know down in the comment section and throw this video a thumbs up. But one thing I can say is that when you're sprinting, try not to jump because jumping does consume sprinting stamina. And when you're almost out of sprinting stamina, try your best to quickly change into a prop before you run out. Because while moving as a prop, you do not consume stamina, and you can continue double jumping as a prop for as long as you want. But just know that you move faster while sprinting than you do as a prop, unless you're able to pull off a third super jump speed boost. And the last tip for this section is to practice your prop movement in custom games. Anywhere from 10 minutes per day or every other day can really help you. In my killer guide video, I forgot to mention that an imposter can track people in cornfields and bushes. So if someone's constantly moving in the cornfield, you can try your best to track them and not lose sight of them and pick your opportunities to deal out damage. Same thing applies in bushes. This is very useful for maps like Camp, where people think they are playing Fortnite and just hide in the bushes. This next tip is all about saving your teammate survivors whenever they're on their first chair. A lot of people do not know this, but whenever someone gets chaired for the first time, they have 60 seconds before they lose another life. The next time they get chaired, they're automatically taken out of the game. I typically follow the gens before friends mentality, but I try to attempt saves when there's about 80 seconds left on my teammate's first chair. Also, try not to save when a killer is camping or very nearby a chair. This just promotes tunneling. If a killer is camping a survivor, just do gens. And whenever a killer is very close by a chair survivor, the timer will not go down. But I always recommend telling teammates that a killer is camping nearby so they know they can just do gens. If 3 other survivors are doing a generator, it can really hurt the killer in the long run if they're choosing to just camp the whole time. If you really want to save a teammate who's being camped by a killer, then I suggest working as a team to do so. Someone can either bait the killer by pretending to actually try to save the survivor and then have the killer chase them while someone else saves them, or someone could purposely mess up on a gen to bait the killer. As always, use your communication. You can press Y on your keyboard to switch to team chat, but again, always double check that it's working because sometimes it can be bug and you're actually doing a global chat where the killer can see you, whereas in team chat, only your teammates can see your messages. For a killer, the best way to get rid of doors is just to tank them. The best way to tank doors is to lunge at an open door that's about to be closed while attacking. This will take out the door in one go, leaving it useless for the rest of the match, and making survivors' lives a lot harder for the rest of the game. This next survivor tip branches off of the movement tip that I mentioned earlier in the video. Always think about switching props when you lose line of sight on the killer. Changing props when running around the corners can help fake out killers or just confuse them. Good killers will, though, realize that you most likely change props and are hiding, so just be aware of that as well. And when changing into props, do not stack as the same prop that you just changed into. It gives you away a lot quicker. For killers, and maybe survivors as well, I recommend turning off motion blur. Motion blur just makes your life harder as a killer, especially if you're trying to chase someone in a cornfield and they change into a small prop that's hopping in every direction possible. In my killer's guide video, I mentioned that Igor can Bhop, meaning that he can carry his momentum through jumping after revving up his chase ability. Both Granny and Banshee can do this as well, but Banshee can do this in the air too. This can help you in chasing survivors without wasting the charge for your chase ability. That's it for this video. I really appreciate everyone who stood by for this long. Again, I have a more in-depth video for both killers and survivors that you are more than welcome to check out. So till next time, stay safe and I'll see you later.